wanted to go with something light for the show today.
So you're hungover right now?
Just a smidge.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't go to bed last night until 6:30, so this is like, I'm like about ready to like kick into second gear right now.
Right, this is the middle of the day for you at this point.
Yeah.
Got the 2 o'clocks.
Yeah, I'm a late night guy. You guys stay up like super late too? Yeah.
Unintentionally more often than not, because I have a toddler, so I'm getting up at 7 o'clock, and it doesn't matter.
Oh, man.
If I go to sleep at 6:58, I will be up at 7. Promise.
Right. That's not fun.
Nope. But it's life.
Yeah. You should just like put it on eBay as soon as possible. Perfectly good toddler available. Buy it now.
No, I actually kind of like him.
Okay.
And I want him to like me because when I get old and have no money, I hope he can take care of me.
Right. That's a good plan.
Hey, you know what? You got to have some sort of fallback.
Right.
Speaking of fallbacks,
yeah.
Right behind you in your badass studio, I see your Yamaha kit.
Yep.
That's
one of them. That's one of them. I have like you guys are drummers too, right? So you know all this business. I have five of these kits in like 4 different colors, just because I love this particular kit. So this is just one of my. I have 2 different yellow Yamaha recording customs, and then like a black one and a red one. I have 2 full red ones too. So the exact same drums, just in different colors, because they got to match like my outfit and stuff. So, you know.
By the way, comments from the chat already. We have Mike Vanek saying, "P.S. The Spazmatics rule." So, yes, they do.
Sweet. So he's seen the Spazmatics then.
Yeah, I'm assuming
hopefully.
So.
Yeah.
He's a drunk like the rest of us, so he's probably been to one of your shows.
Oh, right.
Well, and he's an old school NorCal promoter. He ran 209 Productions for many years. He grew up in Richmond.
Sweet.
Y'all have probably met.
Okay. Yeah, that name sounds really familiar. I don't know why.
Because he's Mike Vanek, brother.
Got it.
He's your brother. He's my brother. He's everybody's brother. Hulk Hogan stole the gimmick from him.
Hey, what drums do you guys play? I'm curious.
I'm currently playing a Mapex Mars with a Zildjian A Customs. Yeah.
Sweet. You like it?
I like it. I need something with a little more oomph to it because it's very airy.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a room that's like sound treated, or are you just playing them in like a just typical bedroom, or what?
I have a garage with a bunch of.
Okay.
I have sound treatment in there, but it doesn't help much.
Gotcha.
So our rehearsal.
Cool. That's a good kit.
Our rehearsal room is what it was. Like we did a 30-minute set for YouTube, and some live streaming fest that we did last weekend, and we did the whole filming on it, and we did it on like a 90-degree day, and it was about 120 in the room.
Oh man.
So it was brutal.
Man, that is brutal. You got to get one of these, man. Do you see this thing up here? That white thing up at the top up there? So those are the ruler, because you can just put those. They're like it's an air conditioner, right? It's just a mini one, and you just run a drip line outside, and then it's real easy to install too. You just put that in, and you've got air conditioning like right in your studio and your set. This thing will be so cold when I'm by myself that it'll freeze you out.
Lunchbox, what drums do you play? I don't think you've ever told me what your drum set is.
I play on an actually D2 Series 2 that's soon to be retired. It's my first brand new kit I've ever had. You know, for my first, I didn't start drumming until 21, so only about 15 years ago. And I, used Frankenstein kits and just whatever I could pick up at the time. And for Christmas '09, my wife bought me this one, and I beat the hell out of it, touring up and down Northern California with it, and a little bit into Nevada. So. It's about time. Maybe we could talk. See if you want to part with one of those red drum kits over there.
Right.
Got to.
Over my dead body.
Closed mouth doesn't get fed, and the only stupid questions are those that go unasked.
I got you. Yeah, I can hook you up. I could hunt you one, like on eBay or something. So.
Feel free.
Mm-hmm. Done it before. I've like found mini kits I have students. I teach like quite a few students. So I've hunted down like drum sets for them all the time. So
if we have,
they're all.
So if we have any prospective drummers in the viewing audience, where can they find you in order to learn some pristine, classy drumming?
That would be MatthiasDrumLessons.com. So, and then just hit me right through there. So my website.
And do they have to wear sweater vests when they play?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Just
it's optional. No, we get them on the image path like as soon as possible though. Like when I see a guy who's like headed for a band, we start talking about that kind of stuff like pretty quick. So,
really?
Yeah.
Like you were talking earlier, and we'll get into the naming of Spazmatics members later. But when that is something I've never touched on with anybody. So when these kids start looking band worthy and like that's their interest, and you start pushing an image on them, right. Do you do kind of the same thing? Kind of talk to them a bit, find out who they are, what kind of image they should portray? Yeah,
like I produce a few like kid bands, and I'm always like, have you guys thought about what you're going to wear like when you perform or like when you do a video or something? Because everybody's an Instagram hero now, so you have to look right. So most of them are just like, I didn't even think about it. I was just going to wear this T-shirt and my shorts. So we talk about that like in detail, and I try and like push them in a direction where it doesn't feel contrived. Like where like something they would seem believable and like would actually attract people.
That kind of sounds like pro wrestling logic, because we're big pro wrestling fans as well. Right. So it's kind of like, all right, kid, what do you do for a living? Oh, I'm a dentist. All right. You're gonna be Dr. Dentist Doom, or that's gonna be your gimmick. You're gonna be the dentist of Doom.
Right. Yeah. The character thing is big, man. That's a big part of it.
Character matters 100%. The band I'm in, Nothing But Losers, we're a horror show. Straight up.
Is that really the name?
That is really the name.
That's awesome.
Best thing about it is it sets low expectations. The most common question I get after we finish a set is, why are you Nothing But Losers? You guys are badass. And I'm like, well, what'd you expect? You expected us to suck, right? Well, we didn't. So,
You guys must attract a lot of chicks.
Actually, we do.
There's a lot of pictures with their stickers over nipples and stuff like that. So there's a lot of sexuality going on. Their bass player actually wears a skirt and a thong.
Nice.
So,
I like the low expectation thing. That's good. That's a good way to start.
Exactly. You set the expectation low, and then what we really do, of course, we try and play as well as we can, and we work hard in the studio. But more than anything, what we really try to do is get up on stage and host a party. And and I know what you do, and that's I feel you have a similar mindset. Yeah, man. It's a party going on out there. Absolutely. We just happen to be up here.
That's like pretty much the threshold of like where it all started with like when I saw Van Halen. That was all about that. Like when I first saw like Van Halen in their prime, it was like the kind of band that you would want at your house when you're having a good time. So, and that's what like led me to like where I am now, I think. So that's exactly why we do what we do in the Spaz thing. So.
I'm glad you touched on that, Van Halen. So, of course, the initial static question always is, where did it start?
Right.
You gave us some insight right there. So, Van Halen, where, when, please?
Like, you mean when I saw Van Halen?
You said that's what kickstarted you. Like, really gave you the whole, this is it. Please.
When that first album came out, like with Eruption and all that, it like was just mind-blowing, life-changing, because I later realized it was because like that band was captured on an album. You see some bands that are great live, and then you hear the record and you're disappointed. That band, they captured that energy of that show on that record, and that was super important because when you go see them, you feel like this is like a representation of what you heard on that record. So in a lot of bands, it's like there's this mismatch with the recordings versus the live show. So, and that party element is there on that record. Like you feel like you're at the party when you listen to that album. Like I feel like I'm hanging out with David Lee Roth, drinking a beer with him and stuff. Because all his banter and all his like giggling between the songs actually. So that was like when it first came out, right? Like way back, like 70s, right? Are we that old?
Not.
Don't answer that.
No,
not quite that old. Early 80s, but.
Right.
was what took you. What just hammered that nail home.
Yeah.
Where was that?
The first live show where I was like, actually the first live show where I was like impressed by what was going on stage was a smaller venue in San Francisco where I saw this band Y&T, and they're like Bay Area kind of legendary guys.
Oh,
and Dave Meniketti came out and just ripped and shredded, and I was just sat back, like I was literally like this close to him, like just like this, like looking at him right here, and just the energy that came forth out of that guy was just super inspiring, and it just like floored me, like how much he just like took over when he came out. He was an animal. He was just a caged animal inside that club. So a lot like Van Halen was when they first started, you know, just super energetic, like giving the people their money's worth, not just sitting back and like staring at your neck. It's like,
I know that feeling.
Yeah. I hate that. So like I actually like spend a lot of time watching the audience, you know, and like watching their reactions to that stuff, and like if it's important, like reading the crowd like that. That's a huge thing.
And that's the best part to me.
Yeah.
Like it's, once again, we talk about I'm the party host. Well, a good host goes and talks to those who he's hosting.
Right.
You know, you talk to your guests.
Right.
So real quick, just want to break the question. Say what's up, Kyle Savage? What's up, Cade? My boys from work decided to log on and watch us. Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate the fuck out of it.
All right, we have a request from somebody in the chat. Our regular listener Jordan Harrison asks, "Can I get a shout out, please, Matthias?"
Jordan Harrison, what is up? How are you? Who the heck are you? Did you see us somewhere? Where are you from? Jordan Harrison. Is that someone I should know? I'm wondering. Is it a girl or boy? Because that's one of those names where it could be like either. It's got to be a boy, right?
Girl.
That is a girl. Yes.
Oh, wait a minute. I think I might know her. I didn't do it. Was it good though? No, I think I know Jordan. Is she cute? Can you see a picture?
Let's.
You got to say yes. That's a loaded question right there.
Of course she is.
Yeah, of course she is.
Her and Mike Vanek brawl weekly for who's the #1 super fan of this show. Of course she's cute.
Right.
And it's her birthday next week too, so we may have something special lined up for that.
Happy birthday.
So you got above and beyond, Jordan. So congratulations there.
Nice. What's up, Jordan? I think I know who that is. What's up?
So as an accomplished travel musician, where did the journey start for you? Tell us the story of a young Matthias Montgomery.
Jesus, do I have to? That was a long time ago.
We wanted to know when you rode your dinosaur uphill in the snow both ways barefoot.
Yeah, it was quite a journey. I was doing like mostly like house parties and stuff like that with my fellow band guys back in high school. And then I was taking drum lessons at this place in Concord, and this guy goes, "There's this band that's looking for a drummer. You should go check them out. They have a little ad out on the board out there." So I go out to the board, and there's like this pinned up, like all the pinned up boards, like, selling guitar, looking for this, looking for that. And there's this, looking for drummer, and it says like looking for loud, rude, aggressive drummer. And I noticed when I got closer that the actual ad was like all burnt around the edges. Like someone took the time to actually flame it up and burn it.
Presentation.
Yeah, it was like presentation. I'm like, this is obviously somebody who knows how to do something like that's showy, right? So I auditioned for that band, and I was like quickly like in realization that I was out of my my comfort zone. These guys were like already like playing clubs, and I was like a high school just hanging out at parties and stuff like that. So I just came in and just was not up to par with where they were at. So I just panicked, and my friend that drove me there in his Ford Pinto. I made him get me the hell out of there, Mr. Jeff Allen. So he was with me in the very beginning, and he's actually responsible for the whole ride because I was so embarrassed by the audition that I just wanted to get out of there as soon as possible because I just felt like I was not up to par. So like weeks passed, we went to Tower Records, and Jeff was with me when we went into this record store visit, and the singer for the band was working at Tower Records, and he's like, "Isn't that guy you just auditioned for?" So he drags me over. And he connects me with this guy again, and I was just like, please, let's just leave. I don't want to be involved. So we ended up getting together and jamming together more, and then we created the beginning stages of Castle Blak together. And it was this guy named Regent St. Clair, and he was super talented and had like the whole Conquer the World plan already figured out. Like we actually sat at my mom's little like round green Brady Bunch table in her kitchen, and he had a little cocktail napkin, and he's like, here's what we're going to do. It's like, we're going to make this record, we're going to put it out, and we're going to have a fake live track on the first song, and it's going to be like, ladies and gentlemen, from San Francisco, will you welcome Castle Blak? And we'll have a fake crowd in there like we toured Canada. And people are going to think we're already big. So he was trying to do like the backdoor deal thing instead of like grinding it out, playing clubs and all that. So that was the beginning stages of the whole music thing right there.
Genius.
It was genius. And he printed up fake tour shirts that said Canadian Tour, Quest for Pelts, Castle Blak, and it had all the cities on the back, and we never went to any of those cities. And to this day, people come up to me and like, dude, you guys ruled. I saw you with Priest up in Montreal. I'm like, cool, dude. Like, we never did that. We never played there. But it was a brilliant idea because it did kind of give that, these guys are already doing something kind of vibe. And the record had made a little splash like around here, which was tiny, but it ended up making a bigger splash in Europe, and we got signed to EMI, Heavy Metal America. So in Europe, it was doing something, but over here, we were just like some local band. So that was the beginning stages back in like 83. And we made a little demo cassette that led to making that LP, which was Babes in Toyland, our first album.
You did that with famous Green Day engineer Kevin Army, right?
Right. So he went on. He was our engineer for that album, and he was the singer's mentor. So that was the connection there. And he went on to engineer Green Day and a bunch of other stuff. Like can't remember even some of the bands he's done, but like Pariah, like some punk bands around here, the Mr. T Experience, and then Green Day.
I remember them.
Green Day was a big one. Yeah, he he still is a great producer. He's still around producing.
Now,
and
was
doing
that
stuff.
Castle Blak's first time in the big studio making?
Yes.
How was that experience for you going into a professional studio with a professional producer, professional engineer, and just taking it all in?
And before you answer that, I remember watching the Castle Blak little biography video that you guys did, and you know exactly what story I'm not letting you get out of here without telling, so please proceed.
So we did a take of one of the songs called "This Gun Is Loaded," it's pretty self-explanatory. And the producer comes in and he's like, "I'm guessing this is the story, right, Lunchbox?" Like
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so. But
so the producer comes in and he's like, "Yeah, it was pretty good, man. You did an okay job." And I was just like, felt like he like didn't like it. It was like it's not quite the overwhelming response I was looking for. I'm like, what was wrong? He's like, well, it just like kind of lacked a little bit of energy. And he's like, tell you what, why don't you go over there in the corner? There's all those bottles over there, those big Coke bottles of 2-liter plastic bottles. And why don't you guys just beat each other up a little bit? And so we went over there and like grabbed these bottles and we just started pounding each other. And everybody's all ramped up and sweating and everything. And then we sat down and he's like, record. And we hit that track. And that was the track that actually went on the album. And he was right. It had a ton of energy.
Now, let me ask you this. Because that was the first thing, I'm sitting here having a smoke while watching this. And my first question is, did it take any convincing? Was he just like, go hit each other and you got, yes, sir? Or were you like, what?
It took a little convincing. I was like, what? But we were all kind of like along for the ride at that point. I think Regent was the lead singer. He was already experienced and been in the studio and stuff. So I was just like, whatever, sir. Like, okay. So I was young, man. I was super young.
How old were you?
I think I was like 14 and a half or 15. Pretty young.
No shit.
Yeah. I was wearing like cords and a down jacket when Regent met me. And then he's like, you're kind of cool. You have like a pretty boy kind of thing going on. I'm like, what's he talking about? And he's like, you look good with some like chains and some leather and some makeup. And I'm like, what? And then like a week later, I was wearing chains, leather, and makeup and borrowing my mom's clothes.
And did you feel you looked good?
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the whole glam era. So I was all about it. Like the guitar player and I, like the second guitar player we had, Brian Crow, we used to have battles on who could look prettier. So it was just a battle, like who could be prettier. And some guys can pull that off, and other guys look like kind of like Twisted Sister, where it's like,
like they're just doing it because it's trendy, but it didn't work. Yeah, Dee Snider looked much better once he got into the 90s and just embraced his long hair. Right. Yeah, he wore the leather pants, but for the most part, he looked more like the rough and tumble dude he is.
And yeah, totally. Twisted Sister rules, by the way, but yeah, that look on when they had the tons of makeup.
Stay hungry look.
Right. Great album, but like the look's scary.
I could never see him again after watching the Strangeland movie, man. Never again. It's like, yeah, man. Yeah, even though, of course I could disassociate between the person and the actor, but it's like,
yeah, he's a piece of work, man. That band grinded it out in New York, and I have a lot of respect for them because they played all those clubs and just kept building and building and building, and that's one way to do it, man. They did it. So I've seen bands do it that way. We try to do the backdoor deal where we want to just get the deal before having to play like 10 billion shows of like, playing for no one.
Well,
so
which is what we do. That's what me and Brandon do.
Yeah.
That's good.
But lately we're enjoying that whole playing online. I do that with my band too, and getting.
Okay. Wait, you guys are in separate bands?
Yes.
Okay.
But you know something about playing in front of people because on Halloween around 1985, 1986, Castle Blak played a show with Y&T, and on the same night, you guys
Whoa, where did they play at? See, you were supposed to let me have this question, you son of a bitch, so I'm interrupting. And like Brandon was saying, not only did you play with Y&T on Halloween, but you did it at the Concord Pavilion.
Yeah.
That night, while they were playing elsewhere, you outgrossed not only Metallica in the Bay Area, but Ozzy Osbourne.
Right. It's scary.
Elaborate. Like, I of course, you know what we want to know.
Yeah. I mean, I'm no slight to Metallica or Ozzy. I mean, obviously they rule and they're arena level bands, but like for whatever reason, that Halloween night show was a popular show. And Y&T was like a Bay Area favorite, so that was obviously like the pull. We were just like the little fish that came on before them, and it was like nerve-wracking. So there's a picture I have in my bathroom from that night of Regent and Dave Meniketti like hugging, and it was like Regent was like looking around the curtain, looking at all the people, and just like Dave comes out and he goes, "Are you okay, man?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm cool, man." He's like, "It's just another show." He's like, "Just have fun, man. Go out there and have fun." So it was like a major event for Castle Blak, so it was a good thing.
So how soon after the event, or hell, even during the event, did you know that you outsold the other events?
I didn't know until I read it in the press book like years later. I wasn't aware.
So typically just another night. You're like, all right, let's go out and rock. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, we were we just had a plan just to go out and do some assorted shows and try and get noticed, and like I guess it worked to a certain degree because we only did a few club dates before that show happened, whereas bands would have give their right nut to go play some show like that. So it happened pretty quick.
Absolutely. I'm volunteering mine right now if anybody's got me at the Concord Pavilion with the equivalent to Y&T right now. Right. Good old righty can go home. I got my kid. I don't need another one. Like, yeah. I'll do it with Y&T. I'll play that show with Y&T.
Yeah.
Like they're still NorCal favorites. They do great in the Bay. They do great down here in Modesto.
So check this out. Years later, I'm talking like 20 years later after that show, Dave Meniketti does a birthday bash over in San Jose, and he invited 3 guest musicians to come up and play with him. He wants a bass player, a drummer, another guitar player. So he just says, "Send in your tape and I'll pick you, whoever I want to pick." And he picked me to play with him. It was kind of a great moment because I actually got to just be around him and make a fool out of myself and grab his face and do all sorts of silly stuff. But I just have nothing but respect for that guy. And him and Van Halen were 2 of my earliest influences for stage energy. Just like that energy thing, man, where people are moving.
Now, still on the Castle Blak thing, I was wondering, so still in that video, it mentioned that you guys, you guys got a song, "Sleep with the Angels," on the Sharknado soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Right.
now, your band was featured in Hit Parader, Krang magazines. Is that a bigger accomplishment, like being on a Sharknado soundtrack, than it is being in Hit Parader or Krang? Because, like,
not for me. Like, to me, Kerrang was a huge one because that was such a big magazine at the time. It was like, Hit Parader and Kerrang were like the #1 rock magazines from like the early '80s. So the Sharknado thing came about because Regent had a friend who was on the Brady Bunch. He was Cousin Oliver, and his name was Robbie Rist. So Cousin Oliver became Robbie Rist, who was an excellent musician himself, and he was in charge of that soundtrack for that album. So they knew each other, and I think that's how that whole relationship happened, and that song got in there. But it was a huge thing because it's it's a popular movie that everybody knows on Netflix. So it's definitely popular. But I liked all that magazine attention, from those. When I was a little kid, I used to like get Hit Parader and hang those pictures of Eddie Van Halen like on my wall and Kiss and stuff like that.
Yeah, Dimebag Darrell for me.
Do you have any memorabilia still hanging on your walls today?
I do. Like I have, it's a little different. It's not Hit Parader magazine, but I have like some memorabilia, like Maiden, stuff like that. And we talked about Maiden a little bit before we did the show, right? It's like, you guys like them, right? Apparently they're pretty good. They're still around and selling out arenas. Yeah, they're okay.
A small band from, Europe,
Yeah.
So of course we got to ask and talk about Maiden. Like, what's your favorite album, man? I'm a Power Slave guy. I love Book of the Souls. I have to come clean.
It's okay. We have a joke because I told my friend Jeff when Book of Souls came out, I was like, it's all right, it's pretty good, it's like, it's no slouch. And then later I listened to it and it sunk into me how good that fucking album is. It's really fucking good. And like, you name a band that came out back in the 80s that put out a record that good now, because it's usually like garbage and you want to go back and listen to their original hits and stuff. But that album is really good. Priest is probably the only band I can think of that released an album recently that sounds really good and the songs are great.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm struggling to think of bands that have been around that long that are still producing similar quality.
Mm-hmm.
Like, really. And that's
the deal, quality.
Well, and that's something, too, that we've talked about. Like, when you really stop and think across the board musically, who do you see in the last 10 years that's going to be an icon that you could still see producing music that'll be a household name, that'll like in any genre of music? I've got maybe one.
Right. Who do you think?
Lady Gaga.
Right.
Like, I think she's built herself into iconic status, and from all intents and purposes, sounds like couldn't have happened to a nicer person.
She's got iconic boobs.
She does.
I know that. She does. She is. She's a good singer.
I think that's the least iconic thing about her is her boobs.
Really?
Yeah, she's all legs and face to me. But
I get you.
But
it's hard though. You're right. Like I can't think of anybody. I have to go even further back. Like I'm going back to like Seal, like Seal's first record, and
you're gonna sit here and tell me Seal is an icon?
I wouldn't say icon, but I liked that first record a lot. Like I'm trying to think of stuff that I would put on now. Like I'm a big hi-fi guy. I've got a huge hi-fi system with a turntable and everything. I'm all about the vinyl. So what would we put on in the last 10 years? That's a tough one, man. I would almost say nothing. I
might have 20. And even that being said, like, and once again, we're talking about musicians that'll still have that staying power in 20 years. 20 years from today.
Ghost, maybe? Do you guys know Ghost?
Oh, big Ghost fan.
I think they're one of... Yeah, they're good. They're good writers. I mean, good writer. And,
great writer, and I like the way they record. The fact that they stick to pop producers, and because they feel that metal has too many rules. So they take their metal album to a pop producer and let him have a little fun with it, and they're heavier live.
Right.
But on album, they're Brandon.
Mike Vanek says Slipknot.
Slipknot, yeah.
I don't know about
my favorites, but
Corey Taylor.
Yeah, there's like I think Slipknot. I like some of the individual guys better than the band. Like I've heard them a few times. Like Corey Taylor, I like. Yeah.
in my opinion, Corey Taylor is the best singer in metal in the last 2 decades. Period. Like, I don't think there's an argument.
Bold claim.
What do you think about Bruce Dickinson?
Well, I said in the last 2 decades.
Oh, 2 decades. Okay.
2 decades. No. Like I said, I'm not going to argue the Bruce Dickinson thing. Here's another one that I think might make people mad, but hear me out.
Okay.
Kid Rock.
What?
Wow.
All right, think about this. Think about this. All right. Listen, hear me out.
Wait, did you say singer?
Musician. Personality. Dude comes out being the Vanilla Ice thing, early 90s, gets shut down because Vanilla Ice is better looking, more charismatic, more marketable, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Comes out in the late 90s with Devil Without a Cause and explodes.
Right.
Now, over the last 2 decades, the guy has done multiple WrestleManias, spoke at the Republican National Convention this very week, and still produces music that you can't escape no matter how hard you try.
Right. Him and his
Not
band
saying
used
I
to
love
come out
his
and see
later
us,
work.
man.
Like I said, not saying I love it, but you telling me you can't see Kid Rock being like a Steven Tyler, like a Merle Haggard, like a Kenny Rogers in the next 20 years, still up there playing award shows with everybody?
That's a tough one.
You know I'm right. I'll drink to my own comment.
Brandon's ready to like punch you in the face right now.
Brandon's always ready to punch me in the face. It's a common theme on this show.
Yeah. What do you like, Brandon? Brandon, what's your favorite stuff?
I didn't say it was my favorite.
I'm a metalhead, but you know, I will have to say, as much as it like infuriates me, I feel he's right about Kid Rock. He will still be doing these things 20 years from now, as annoying as it might be.
I'm saying that's not the question of favorite, because that's not my favorite. It was who is going to be an icon throughout our whole lifetimes. That's the discussion.
Maybe Justin Timberlake? I don't know.
Ooh, definitely.
Still.
Yeah. I mean, he's great. He's funny, and he's a great actor, too, man. All that SNL stuff he's done has just been ruling.
Incredible.
Because you took my original answer with Lady Gaga, because I absolutely love her. Like, talent upon talent upon talent, and yes, fantastic boobs.
Right. That doesn't hurt. You can't, like, someone was asking me, like, is like the Spazmatics show going to be good tonight? I'm like, and then some other guy sent me a picture of some girl that was doing something, and she looked amazing, and like she had big boobs and everything. I'm like, we can't compete with boobs, man. That just always wins. I mean, look at TikTok. It's just ravaged with boob TikTok things, so you can't compete with that.
No.
It's too different. If I had boobs, I'll tell you right now, if I had boobs and a few more like younger years, I would be ruling this planet right now. But I have to struggle playing drums, though. It's like that's all I can do.
All right.
Yeah, because if it's not man boobs, it's hard to play drums. I couldn't imagine a real set of
man boobs. That doesn't work.
Yeah, it's already tough. So, like, I'm saying, like, to play drums with real boobs?
Yeah.
No, crossing them arms would be a motherfucker.
Hey, that's changed, though. Have you guys obviously have heard some of the girl drummers that have come up through the ranks just due to Instagram and stuff, like Annika Niles.
One of my favorite is Maytal Cohen.
Maytal Cohen, yeah.
Yep. Have you guys heard Annika?
Yes.
She's really good. Like my friend, I played that to my buddy, and he's like, that can't be a girl. There's no way.
Oh!
She's pretty. I mean, he wasn't like dogging that she's like not pretty or anything, but he's just so shocked that like she was so good. So, because in the past, it was like Sheila E. was like probably the noteworthy girl drummer, but I think Annika is like a whole nother level.
And Sheila E. is more known for being a personality than a drummer.
Yeah.
Like, I have been called my band's Sheila E.
Well,
right.
you're just a Sheila in general, so.
Yeah. Do you know Prince?
And not in a biblical sense, no.
Yeah.
Not in the way that you know him.
You know what's funny is I ran into Apollonia down in L.A. once. She hired me and this other guy to do a song for her. And I was just like the whole time just like focused on like, is there any way she can get me to Prince? That was the whole thing. So, but it never led to that, unfortunately.
Man. So you never got a chance to actually meet him?
Yeah. I nodded at him once. Like I went to the San Francisco Bill Graham Civic Show when he did that My Name is Prince tour, and I knew someone that got me backstage, and he jumped off stage, and he was right near me, and we just kind of nodded at each other.
He's like,
and that was about it. Yeah. There was like a team of people around him, like putting new costumes on him and everything. We were just like, there was just like a short nod. That was it.
So hey, let's play a quick little game here. So on the Iron Maiden kick, okay? So I will say a band, and I want you to tell me who you prefer more. And
wait, you didn't let me finish. My favorite Maiden album is definitely Number of the Beast.
Okay.
So it's just undeniably, I know it's the one that everybody goes to. It's the Purple Rain, it's the Thriller, but there's too many good songs on that record and that I love. And when I put them on, I actually get excited now. So that's my favorite, Number of the Beast. But sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, we cut you off to go into our weird discussion there.
I love Power Slave. I love Book of the Souls. I love Fear of the Dark.
Fear of the Dark.
It's more of a mellower album for the most part. But every song is great.
You know what I did, bro? Is I dropped off on Maiden after Power Slave, and I didn't pay attention to anything until just recently, and then we just started buying all those records that I missed, except for the ones where Bruce left. I refuse to get involved unless if Bruce is gone. I'm just not on board.
Oh, so you're one of those guys, huh?
But people are telling me that those albums are good. You guys could probably like attest. I mean, what do you think?
I'm not a Gillis fan. No.
The early stuff. What about the Blaze Bailey era though? That's the one that really, I just don't know.
It's okay.
Yeah. You said it.
It's okay. No. I got no highlights for you, but it's okay.
Right. Yeah, that just doesn't interest me. But so I bought all those records that I missed from Power Slave on, all the way through to, and the one that's really the shocker is, help me out here, the Wicker Man album.
Oh man,
that album just rules. Like I was like shocked when I put that record on. I was like, God, this is really good. I think it was Bruce's comeback album when he came back, right? So he left and then came back.
Yes.
God, that record is super strong. So like my point is like they've been releasing really solid stuff the whole way through. So I'm a complete idiot for like losing track of them all those years.
I feel the same way too because I became a Maiden fan only about 5 years ago because I was the Metallica and Slayer kind of guy and
right.
Like Iron Maiden. And then I finally sat down and started listening to Maiden. I go oh shit, this is really good.
Yeah, it's really good shit, right?
With it.
We spend time like trying to convince girls that we know that how good they are, because there's certain girls that just don't get Maiden, and certain girls do. But I think that like people, I don't know, they just like kind of dismiss them a little bit early. But you go to their shows, and there's like anywhere from like 20 to 150,000 people when you go to like these South American countries that come out to see these guys, and it's been going strong for 40 years. It's like that is like, you gotta like tip your hat to that.
Absolutely.
And the fact that Bruce is still up.
Hey, brings it.
Even at what mid 60s, still running across the stage like he's in his 20s, 30s.
Yeah, totally.
Okay,
totally.
So let's play this game. All right,
okay.
So I'm gonna say a band, and I want you to tell me who you prefer more. Every time you prefer something over Maiden, we have to drink.
Okay. Okay, this is going to be good. It's going to be a short game.
Show beer. Should we just drink while Brandon lists the bands? Like, just chug our beers while he lists?
We might have some surprises in here. So.
You're not going to bring up Opeth, are you? Please don't say Opeth. You like Opeth?
Opeth? I love Opeth.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Opeth is
really?
Good.
My brother was really into that. My brother got me into them. So
yeah, they're good, man. They do a lot of crazy, like, go in different directions. It sounds like Yes sometimes. Other times it sounds like this growling weird shit. But they're kind of cool.
They're like a heavy metal Yes. That's a pretty cool comparison.
I got confused in between Opeth and OTEP, and I absolutely hate OTEP.
I don't even think I know what that is. Isn't that a car company or something? I don't even know.
We wish. She's a rather unlikable person I had to play a show with one time. We threw a Hall of Fame hissy and then sent her tour crew out to try and get the crowd to watch her openers in the other room while my band was playing, even so as asking my own wife to come watch her openers instead of us.
Yeah.
Right.
By the way, we had the full house until we got off stage, and then they went and watched her.
I see. That makes sense, though. That makes sense.
We were fortunate to have been pretty known in that venue, so when we came to town, people got ready to party. So we were lucky. And thank God we played before she did.
Nice. Do you guys like Rush? I mean, that's a very important question.
Well,
no.
No.
I like Neil Peart.
Wow.
I don't like Rush.
Rush is too weird for you.
No. I do not like Geddy Lee's voice.
Gotcha.
I have a childhood trauma thing about when my dad snatched me and ran off with me to Oklahoma with a custody battle ensuing quickly.
Right.
And for whatever reason, the whole way through from Los Banos to South Texas,
right,
where we touched down, as we drove through the desert, every hour there was at least one Rush song, and for whatever reason, maybe it was the hit at the time, was Closer to the Heart.
I see.
At least 3 times a day.
Okay.
So outside of Tom Sawyer, that wrecked Rush for me.
Right. I got you.
yeah, Rush is
But
good.
yeah, hail to Neil, though, right? He's the man.
Oh, Neil's the man. No doubt. Geddy Lee's voice brings up those really weird moments from that trip that just had me sitting there when my dad had the car radio on and we were supposed to be sleeping, and I'm just kind of laying there being like, huh, this is weird. And then it's closer to the heart, closer to the heart.
Dude, you sounded exactly like him. I felt like I was there.
Now I know how to torture you.
If I could play keyboards with my feet, I would have.
Next time we go on a road trip, I know how to torture you.
That's funny.
I will push you out of the car.
All right, you guys ready to drink?
Yeah, let's hit those
Apparently.
questions, man.
All right, I'm going to say a band. You tell me who you prefer more. That band or Maiden? Metallica.
Gotcha. Maiden.
Okay. You still drinking? Okay. Van Halen.
Oh, shit. I'm going to have to go Van Halen on that.
Oh.
That was a really, ball-splitting close one. Very close.
Def Leppard. Okay.
Maiden.
Iron Butterfly.
Maiden.
What, did you just correlate the iron with the iron?
Yeah. That's fucking funny. We had no joke. We have this barbecue thing we do every now and then. We're a massive blowout party with two guys who like Maiden, and one of the guys' girlfriends is like, we were talking about Maiden. She's like, isn't that band that did that Inagata-Davida song? I'm like, no, that's Iron Butterfly. It's not Iron Maiden. So the fact that someone could confuse those two bands really scares me.
That is a problem with our society.
Yeah. All right, hit me, Brandon. Maiden.
Right, Ozzy.
Maiden. That's a tough one.
Bon Jovi. Okay.
Maiden.
Kiss.
God damn. I got to go Maiden on that, but early Kiss is huge for me.
Okay.
The later Kiss makes me want to crawl on the floor and die.
Because that's not Kiss.
Right. Let's put the X in sex. Ooh, no, Paul.
All right, one more for you. One more.
Okay.
Queen.
Oh, fuck. I got to go Queen on that one, dude. Freddie. I mean, how great was Queen? Is there anybody better than them?
No. I watched the Live Aid set today.
Did you really?
Yeah.
I got that DVD too, yeah.
You know what? I just watched it on YouTube. My toddler, luckily, he's very musical.
Right.
And lately, it's been a lot of acoustic stuff. Mumford & Sons, The Dead South, couple other bands like that.
Right.
A lot of punk rock. But for whatever reason, the first song I sang to him when I brought him home from the hospital was "Don't Stop Me Now."
Right.
And so I put on just a Queen mix.
Mm-hmm.
And it was Bohemian Rhapsody, and then it was the Live Aid set.
Right.
And I was just like, oh, badass.
Yeah, that Live Aid set is raises hairs on your neck, kind of good.
Oh,
Yeah.
And he's just such a consummate musician, dude. Like, I mean, as great of a singer as he was, but he was like the writer and playing piano through all that stuff, and just insane.
Even more impressive to me is his ability to control a crowd. Right. Like the way he marched across that stage and just every movement, every small movement mattered.
Totally.
And just the way he would look, the way he would, talk to his players, everything. Like, the best in the business, best to ever do it.
Right, and that plays into Spazmatics too. Like, I mean, we like pull from that whole thing you're talking about right there. I'm not saying we're even coming close to touching that, but that's important shit, man. When you have the crowd, like Prince was like that. Prince could control a whole room, so there's not too many people that can do that. So, and I think it's the songwriter thing, man. When the songs are really good, then it just like mesmerizes people.
Now, like watching the Spazmatics every week, like I have learned that Mr. Wayne Famous yourself has a great affinity for Prince. Where did the love for Prince come about, and did he teach you those dance moves?
He's been like my muse forever. Like, I remember digging through my brother's record collection, like back in the I'm talking like 81. And I remember seeing Prince in a thong and wearing a trench coat. And I'm thinking, what is my brother doing listening to this weird shit? And then my friend Jeff, like, was actually like, when Purple Rain hit, he was like, man, you got to like listen to this stuff. This guy hits these crazy notes. And then he actually sang the stuff, and I'm still scarred listening to that awful vocal performance that he put me through that day. And every time we drive past the area where it happened, I'm like, that's where that Prince, like, the whole thing started. Like, I think Purple Rain was like really when I got obsessed, but like 1999 was the introduction. And then I just started buying backwards, and then went to all his performances. I went to about like 7 times, I think I saw him, and it was just like shockingly overwhelming, like how much control he had. And he was like everything. He had the songs, he had the image, he had the cool, he had the dance moves. I mean, it just, everything was rolling. It was just the perfect storm of like everything going. Yeah. So, and then I saw him at Bill Graham Civic, and then I saw him at DNA Lounge like later that night.
Oh!
Yeah. And it was crazy, dude. Like, we had the like one of, I don't know what you would even call this girl. She was like she was an ex-girlfriend of one of my friends, and she got us in. And she's like his tour handler or something. Like when he goes to these smaller clubs, she's like, make sure you stand, go back over here and like this and that. She was just handling, like, I don't want to say tour manager, but it was something like that. And she got us into that show, and he was sick that day. He had a respiratory infection, and he did a 2-hour show at the Bill Graham Civic, and then he came out and did another 2-hour show at DNA Lounge. And it was so freaking good that I felt like I was levitating. And he played almost every instrument that night, and just came out there and killed it. And just like, he just leaves no stones unturned, man. That guy's just like a consummate performer. But yeah, his just whole cool vibe, man, is just legendary. I mean, like, is there anything to be said about his moves, man? He's just like a killer, just performer. But the moves and everything, it just has girls going wild. I mean, like, every time he moved, it was like crazy.
Mike Vanek wants to know, did he smash a borrowed guitar?
He did. He did. There's a legendary story. I can't really tell it as good as one of my close friends, Saud, who was in a band called Grooveline in San Francisco. And Prince came in for an after show, and Grooveline was one of our bands that we had in our company that was pre to Spazmatics. And so they had to be on watch that when Prince got there, he was going to take over. And he came on one night, and they had to clear out, and then he used all their stuff, and he destroyed a couple instruments. And it's a very funny story, though, man. He threw up a guitar and just let it drop on the ground, and then he looked over at the leader of the band, and he was like, that's the way it goes, man.
If just saying for an after hours segment, if you want to reach out to us privately and have that story be told by the master storyteller you're telling us about, please
I'm gonna film him doing it eventually, because it's so funny. It'll bring tears to your eyes, because he was a Prince fanatic, and he was stuck in the middle of this, Prince's management and Prince, and then also his band, who didn't care about Prince because they weren't really into him. and he destroys their shit. But it's classic story. Like, he got called into Prince's room, and he had to sit on a couch with a guy in between him and Prince would talk to the guy, and then the guy would talk to him. I'm like, can't he just talk to me himself? He's right there. But, you know, he's like he's Mr. Man. You know, you don't even look at him. So, but like, those after shows.
I want this story.
It's a classic story. And Prince said he would take care of the damage. And like, what happened at the end of the story was his brother, who was his bodyguard, came out and he's like, grabbed my friend. He goes, "My man, you are lucky to even be in this building right now." It's like, I'll tell you what, though. He pulls out a $100 bill out of his pocket, crumples it up, and throws it in his face. He goes, "There you go, my friend." And he's just like, "That's it?"
Hell yeah! That's some G shit right
So,
there.
yeah.
Oh, hell no!
That's
Fuck
some G
that!
shit right there.
It was fucked up. Prince, check this out. Prince came into DNA Lounge, and this is the story, like, because I used to work there too. He got the door. He charged a door charge. Like, I think he raised it to like $75 or $100, and there was people lined up from here to like San Jose to get in there. And he also kept the entire bar, so the club made $0.0, and they were just happy that he was there.
Wow.
So Prince walked with the entire take of the entire club, which usually never happens. You know, at least they make the bar. But he had this like lined up in every city. Like, he'd do these after shows, and he's so popular, he would come in and take everything. So, but it's just crazy, crazy. Mm-hmm.
Now,
yeah, like, we're not quite that big. We can't go in there and just demand we take everything.
God damn. So. Like, okay, so before getting big, people want to hear about the Spazmatics questions, but we'll get there because we got to touch on a couple other highlights of your life, your career, real quick. So let's play 6 Degrees of Musicians. Okay, I'll mention a name, and you tell me a story about how you met them and what the connection turned into. All right.
Okay.
And this is for Mike Vanek because he really wants to know, what is your connection with Michael Schenker?
Michael Schenker, I knew a guy who was connected to the Scorpions in LA, and he liked my original band. And he calls me one day, and he goes, I was coming home from a rehearsal in Los Angeles, and I go, yeah, what's up, man? And he's like, can you come over to this studio in Beverly Hills and just help me out with this project? And I was like, yeah, sure, man. I'm just coming home from a rehearsal in Torrance, which was like way down in south, like part of Los Angeles, and I was coming up to Hollywood. I'm like, all right, I can just come over there right now, I guess. He's yeah, just come over right now. So I was in my sweats, and I was all like sweaty from the rehearsal and everything. So I jam over to this studio. I don't even have my drums. I just like show up, and I walk into the control room, and fucking Michael Schenker is sitting in the room. And I'm like, I look at the guy and I go, you didn't fucking tell me Michael Schenker was going to be here. I would have gone home and fucking showered and put on some good clothes. He's like, who cares? I'm like, I do. I've worshipped Michael Schenker since like the UFO era. So it was like a major, like, important thing for me. So anyways, I go in. Michael's like reaming the engineer because the guy couldn't plug shit in fast enough for him. So he was cutting a bunch of solos. Like, he had 10 tracks open, and he was cutting like guitar solo, guitar solo, guitar solo, guitar solo. So my friend wanted me to come in and basically program a drum beat that would work with all his shit and then play bass. So I had to come in and do that real quick. And I'm standing there in my fucking like $5 sweats with Michael Schenker like sitting right here. And Michael Schenker's like, this guy cannot plug in this stuff. This is like amateur hour. Why am I even here? He's all pissed off, and I'm just standing there like, it's not my studio. I just got called in. So it was for a surf movie. It was a TV show called Wave Watch. It was like a public access show in Los Angeles. And he did a segment for like some movie that the guy was going to do or something like that. And it just like, probably came and went. No one ever saw it or anything. I've got a demo of it somewhere in a cassette, like in my garage here. So I got to hang out with him for a night and like kind of be with him. And I'm like, yeah, like, remember when you were like in UFO? That was really cool. It's just like, I was struggling not to say something super stupid. But
did you fail?
That was my involvement with him. And I wish that it would have led to more stuff because I worship Michael Schenker. I think he's one of the greatest Like his style is just unparalleled. Does anybody play like him? I mean, he's his own kind of guy.
Please tell me you failed and said something stupid.
I didn't. I've been around some pretty famous people, and I've like just sat there thinking of the stupid shit I could say, and I really try not to say stupid shit. It's like,
and they don't want the stupid shit either.
No. But that was it. Like, guy was connected to the Scorpions, and the guy that brought me in like was actually in the band the Safaris, who wrote Wipeout.
Oh shit.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, I doubted that, too. I was like, this guy's full of shit. And I'd go to his house in Malibu, and he's got all these, like, platinum records. I'm like, where'd you buy those at a swap meet or something? It's like, no, those are actually the Safaris, like, fucking platinum records. I'm like, really? And then I look back at a video, and there he is, like, when he was, like, a young kid, and he claims he has writing credit on that song. Like, how much money do you think he's pulled in from that?
Oh, grip shit.
Yeah.
Like, that would be the only way to describe that. Like, every year he just gets to open up one annual check and just be like, yep.
Right. He had two homes. He had one up in Malibu and one down on the beach in Malibu. So something happened. And then he connected himself to the Scorpions somehow. So that was the Schenker connection.
Before we get to our next name, I think it's appropriate to take a quick break. So we're going to play a video of some of Matthias's music that he writes and is performing on. So we're going to show a 3-minute video called The Grid. So let's take
I really appreciated this, by the way.
Oh,
like,
cool.
I felt bad. Brandon shot it to me last minute, so I'm doing my show prep, watching this, and I'm trying to do prep, make sure my questions are laid out, make sure everything's good and in the right place.
All right.
And I just stopped.
Oh, cool.
And just really watch. Because first of all, dude, I love your cymbal setup.
Oh, cool.
I'm gonna jump on your dick a little bit right there. Like your cymbal setup.
What do you mean, like all 24 of them?
Yeah.
I know.
24. I use 6.
Right.
Like,
it's kind of overkill, but it's so much fun. You know, it's just like a gratuitous, like little cool moment when you can just have your own little cool setup. It's a little miniature city.
Well, exactly. It's
right.
As my father-in-law described it a few years ago when I first really got into drumming, it's like a gigantic fucking erector set.
Right.
That's what it's an old school erector set that makes really cool fucking noises.
My ex-girlfriend used to give me shit about that. She'd be like, are you in there setting up your... Like, I would tear down my kit and reset it up because I thought I could find a better angle or something. And she's like, you've got some kind of neurosis or something. Is this another drum neurosis meltdown?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is, bitch. Now hand me that fucking china and that watch symbol and shut the fuck up.
Yeah. She actually paid for the china. I'm like, hand me that china, you bitch.
I mean, dude, she knew what she was getting into. As soon as any woman walks into your drum room for the first time,
right? If
she doesn't run right then, she knows what she got into.
Right.
Straight the fuck up. But anyway, I had a good time.
Thank you.
I likened it to.
I thought it was very progressive, very, very Rush-like.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big fan of animals as leaders.
Sweet.
And that was what that made me think of.
Sweet, man. Well, that guy's fucking ridiculously good. I mean,
he's ridiculously
scary good. Yeah. Thank you, though. That's a huge compliment. I wish I could like carry his shoes.
So late.
I saw him at NAMM one year, man, and it was like jaw dropping. Like it was just like, this is a whole nother level right here. Matt Kotzka. Yeah. Yeah,
it's like, who pays you to drum all day because you have to?
Yeah.
You absolutely have to do. Those movements aren't real.
He did a interview with Modern Drummer, and they said that he was at Berklee School of Music, and he was practicing 8 hours a day, and his friends were telling him, hey, man, you're just beating your head against the wall. Why are you doing that? He's like, in the interview, he goes, I'm so glad I didn't listen to them. So, and look where he is now. I mean, he's just ridiculous good.
He's doing things that, like I said, 2 decades ago weren't real.
Right.
That didn't exist. People can't do that.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, so it's the kind of shit you can't sit down and like, okay, I think I can get kind of close to like a few of those bars, but it's really difficult. You have to be like at a super high level. Yeah,
it's the sort of thing you try and play for, an hour, and then you just cry for another hour in the corner while you realize you're a failure and all your achievements in life are bullshit.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of what I was doing when I was listening to Rush in the 80s, like when Spirit of the Radio and all that shit came out. We hacked through that song a few times, and I was like, oh, man, this is bad. So I get it now that I'm a teacher and stuff, I get it. But like back then, I was just like, what's he doing?
Yeah, yeah. What the fuck even is that? Your hand doesn't do that.
Right, exactly. Totally. So you're gonna play that, Brendan?
All right, we're gonna play "The Grid" by Matthias Montgomery. Check it out.
Sweet.
We are back right now, and that was "The Grid" by Mr. Matthias Montgomery, man.
Damn, that was good.
So good.
I was going to say, you look rather pleased with yourself right now. And I dig that shit, by the way. I'm a firm believer.
That's because of the bass player. Did you hear that bass playing in there?
Yeah, Mike Vanek said that was great.
Not that anybody cares, but like the deal was there is that I had a certain tempo that I was going for, and it matched a Michael Jackson song. So I sent the Michael Jackson song to this dude who plays bass. It's unbelievably good. Like, he's the best bass player I've ever seen in my life. And he cut a bunch of like various parts to that song, and then I took all his pieces and I just kind of like put them where I wanted them to go, and then I just played a bunch of shit, and I'm like, all right, arrange this, move this here, put that there, and like that all came together because of that bass player's parts. So his name Ricky Walking, like just a ridiculous bass player. He played with Jennifer Batten and Gary Hoey. And,
shit!
He's a monster bass player, like serious bass player. So and he's hanging out in Texas now, just like I think being a dad. But like, man, he just rips. He's so good that when he plays bass, you don't need any other band members. You would just be like astonished what he can do with that instrument.
I have
you?
I'll say there's a couple of them out there.
All right. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Thanks for playing that.
Of course. We have another one for you later. So, as we're doing our name association game, so we talked about Michael Schenker. What about Brad Gillis? You're kind of doing a little something with him now, aren't you?
Yeah. Night Ranger and Ozzy. Like my first major arena show. My first show was the Y&T show at that small club, and then my first arena show where like people were like throwing up and smoking pot was Oakland Coliseum, and it was Ozzy Osbourne when Brad replaced Randy Rhoads right when Randy died, and it was just killer show. You know, Tommy Aldridge on drums, all those classic songs. Brad stepping into Randy's shoes and doing a really great job. So, you know, move years and years later, he saw me play at a event that happened in Walnut Creek, California, and he just comes up to me at the end of the show and he's like, "Man, you're like a player. You're a player." I'm like, "You mean like with chicks and stuff?" And he's like, No, I mean on drums." It's like, "Oh yeah." So he invited me over to his house, and then we just struck up a relationship, and then we've been recording songs for about like 4 or 5 years now, and he lives like right around the corner from me.
Oh wow, I had no idea.
Yeah, he's right here in Lafayette.
I don't know if anybody actually knows this about me, but Night Ranger's Dawn Patrol is actually one of my favorite like albums and vinyl records that I own.
Mm-hmm. Me too. Yeah, I love it. A great album, and everybody knows how great the guitar playing was on all those records. It was just stellar, you know, whether you like the band or not, which I do, and a lot of people do. It's just like no doubt about it. Those guitar like solos on those records are stellar, and he's a killer guitar player, and he's very, very focused. Like I've been around him for like quite a while, and like he knows what he's doing, and he knows what he wants. Like we've recorded songs where we don't even have a song together yet, and he'll just be like, "Okay, I'm just gonna like kind of scream some directions at you, and I want you to do like what I tell you to do." And then he'll like pick all the pieces, and then he'll kind of edit it all together, and then put his guitar parts on there. So we've recorded about 18 songs, and right now it's in the hands of a very, very, very big record label, probably the biggest one on the planet. And I can't really say what's going on right now, but I think within a few months, after when this COVID thing kind of like gets a little more cool, there should be some action there. So I'm hoping for a major worldwide release, and we've recorded some really good stuff, and it's just killer stuff. Like the guitar playing's great. There's a great singer, Gary Moon, is on it, who was a Night Ranger singer when Jack took a break. And Brad's just a talented bitch. He just knows what he's doing, and he knows how to get his points across. And he's really funny, man. He comes in here, he's like, "I need you to play this part, you know, like do your like, you know, your Foo Fighters thing, and then I need a little John Bonham. I need a little John Bonham." It's like, "I don't want any of those jazz fills. None of those jazz fills. Just John Bonham, man." Like, his eyes get really big, you know, and he's just like, I know how to read him and what he wants. And then he's like, you know, just do your thing. That's always how it ends. Just do your thing. So he's a great guy, like one of the rock star guys that you can look on and go like, this guy's a really cool guy. There's no bullshit with him. There's no weird attitude. It's just a regular nice guy, and he's a Bay Area legend and a world famous guy that stepped into some of the biggest shoes on the planet and did a good job.
Well,
so can you imagine like if Eddie Van Halen crapped out and you had to go replace him? It's
no, I could not.
Right, brutal.
Well, I'm glad to know that I have a hookup to get my Dawn Patrol vinyl signed by Brad.
For sure. Yeah, he'll do that in a second. He's really cool about all that stuff. So yeah, for sure, man.
I remember being, God, I don't know, like 10 years old, running across my house going, "Night Ranger! Where you gonna run to now? Night Ranger!
Something tells me that happened like yesterday.
You know,
it was today.
Was it?
It was today while we were getting ready for this show.
It happened.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm in the car.
You know, they were a band a long time ago called Rubicon, and then it eventually became Ranger, and then it turned into Night Ranger, and then he left to do the Ozzy thing, and then he came back. So, because we still haven't really broached that topic yet, like why he left Ozzy Osbourne, because, I think we all know why he left Ozzy and why all those other guys did, but it's interesting, like, you know, to jump into some huge thing that's world famous and then to jump out of it. So, but it all worked out. Yeah.
You also do some touring with a little band called Hardline. How did you meet the Gillis brothers?
Yeah, Gillis. Johnny actually, pre-Spazmatics, I was in a band called the Aphrodisiacs that was really big in Chicago, and Johnny filled in on vocals. And Johnny was the singer of a band called Hardline that played worldwide and released a record that sold 500,000 copies and went gold because Neil Sean and him wrote a bunch of really great songs. So when Neil took a break from Journey, he wrote that album, the what is it called? Something Eclipse. I'm like, it's like escaping me right now. But anyways, Total Eclipse or something like that. It did really well, and like Johnny actually filled in with one of my bands, and we became like best friends like immediately because we're both Italian, and we just have the same outlook on life. And so I've been like kind of a fill-in guy for him when his band's going. So, but he was one of the guys that was in our company, which is Perfect World Entertainment, that controls the Spazmatics and all that. So that's how that all happened. And we toured Spain and Italy, did some really cool shows over there.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, and it's funny, like when you go over there, dude showed up like in like jean jackets with like patches on the back, like Def Leppard, and it felt like I just stepped into 1983. Like people really like 80s music over there.
Dude, that's Modesto.
Is it?
Well, Modesto's still in the 80s.
Right.
Really?
Really?
Our shows are better than yours, Brandon. The OP kicks way more ass than the Red Hat, and you know it.
Nice. Is there people like cruising around with like bandanas tied around their legs and stuff?
I don't know. You tell me, Lunchbox.
I'd have to think about it. I'm gonna go with no. There's just a lot of jean vests, a lot of leather vests, because we got the whole Georgia Metal Alliance down there. Shout out to my boy Brockelstein from Asylum Productions and all those hardworking cats. But the vests and the patches, still a very big thing in Modesto and the Bay Area too.
Nice.
Brandon's got one.
I do.
Really?
I used to belong to a metal club. Now I'm just a metalhead.
Sweet. That's pretty cool. We played out at Modesto a few times, man. Like, there was a big club out there.
Fat Cat.
Fat Cat
Music House and Lounge, dude.
My camera got stolen there, man. Did you take it, Lunchbox?
I did not. I would talk to.
Mike.
No, Mike Vanek did not steal it, but Mike Vanek might have heard who did.
That's funny. No, that was a cool place, man. It was like, is it still there?
No. We played the last show at it back in 2015.
I played to the earlier ones. That was great.
I saw Kill Switch Engage there. I saw Static X there. Devil Driver, Pokey Lafarge. Like you name it, dude. The Fat Cat was really dope.
Right.
It's a shame it's gone. Like the fact that you remember it's badass.
Right. Yeah, it was a big place and it was nice. Yeah.
I wouldn't call it nice, but
you don't think?
It was definitely nicer than a lot of other venues, but it was a giant dive bar. I think that's just because we were there all the time, so we knew the ins and outs of it.
Right, I got you. Yeah.
So we talked about your buddies. What was it like being able to jam with Neil Sean from Journey?
Actually, he was.
I'm sorry. Give me a second.
Go.
Mike Vanek loaded your drums at the Fat Cat Music House and Lounge.
What? He did?
Yeah.
He loaded them where? Like onto the stage?
That's what he's saying. He loaded them in the group chat. He's like, Mike Vanek loaded your drums. He spoke about himself in the third person for this.
Wow.
No, he does that. That's nothing special.
Okay. That's cool, man. Thank you for that.
Premier stagehand.
Can you come over and load them like here? Like I need help here.
He's in Bristol, Virginia now.
Okay. Neil Sean was like actually out of Hardline when I was there, and there was another guy. He went back to this little tiny band called Journey. And,
those guys.
Those guys, yeah.
They're pretty good.
They're pretty good, yeah.
They're all right.
So Neil married my best friend's sister, and that's how the whole Hardline thing started. So they were at a Christmas party, and his wife at the time goes, "You should like start a band with my brother. He's really good." Johnny was in a band called Brunette, like that was big in L.A., and that's how the whole thing happened, like just like that. So he left back to Journey, and then we got another guitar player called Josh Ramos who came into that whole thing, who plays a lot like Neil and is really good in his own right. So he was gone, yeah.
Well, yeah, we got a little bit of back history there. Like for some reason, looking up my data, it just looked like Neil was a part of the whole thing. I was like.
Yeah, a lot of people think that. He was pretty much only on that first record, and then Johnny's been doing Hardline albums ever since, and he's touring Europe pretty consistently now and doing very well. Like they're drawing like huge over there.
Instagram, and they have a lot of awesome accolades for the charts and streaming. Like good for them, man.
He's a killer singer, dude. Like I mean, one of the best vocalists. Like he did a Queen cover, right? like a tribute to like when the movie came out and everything, and it's really good. I mean, he can sing his ass off.
Like
no doubt
not
about
knowing who the band was before actually researching you and what you've done. I really like Where the North Wind Blows. Rhythm from a Red Car is good. Like, hard rock.
That's one of my favorites.
Hard rock at its best, like good stuff.
Right.
I like it.
Yeah, he's killer guy, man. He was a disco character in one of our shows, and his name was Antonio Bigapini.
Antonio Bigapini.
He just had a classic vibe on stage. It was so funny. But he had these like really effed up like pants that were like too short. I'm like, dude, you can't wear those like fucking Santa pants anymore, man. You got to do something with that. So his grandma sewed on like an extra inch on the bottom. So if you saw his disco character, it's a little bit different than the Hardline days. It's pretty funny. I actually have a picture of us. Hold on, check this out.
Oh, yes. This is the shit people tune in for.
Get this up.
There we go.
There we go.
There we are. So that's Johnny and Tommy. Hey, it's Tommy Pingotti. How you doing out there, people? You doing okay? So we had like two like Italian guys in the same band. It was like a little bit of an Italian nightmare. It's fun as hell.
You just bugaboo back and forth to each other. Oh, the bugaboo, bugaboo.
Yeah. Can't do it in a small practice shed because you'll punch each other all the time.
Yeah. Yep, definitely.
I had a friend come over right before the podcast, and she was talking to me, and she was doing this whole thing. I had to social distance on purpose away from her because she kept trying to like slap me because she was just talking. This is how she was doing. It's like hey.
Right.
Back up. It's okay.
That's funny. Are you guys social distancing? Are you staying away from people and stuff?
As best as we can. We got to work for a living, so.
Right. Yeah.
I work at a gas station and I sell beer, so no, not really.
Right.
I have to yell.
Right. You got to do what you got to do, man.
Guitar player all the time for coughing in my general direction.
Yeah, there's always like somebody around who's like really like obsessive about it, and I feel guilty, because you're like, you don't want to like make them feel uncomfortable or whatever, but shit.
No, I like backing those people into a corner like 6 feet, about 4.5, and just kind of let them back up. And I won't come any closer because I'm not trying to give them a heart attack or nothing. But
right.
I laugh about it because I'm just like, dude, like, wash your hands, put your mask on, you'll be fine. Like, I'm not gonna hug you or slobber on you. I promise. I got a mask on.
Right. That's funny.
Right. Now the questions of the hour and a half. Thanks for sticking with us, by the way.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having me.
So we're going to ask some Spazmatics questions. People are stoked. Some people are stoked to hear these.
Right.
Like, there's a lot of, like... So, why I like the Spazmatics is because, once again, I'm a pro wrestling fan, and with the Spazmatics, it's a gimmick.
Or is it?
Good point. And, like, can you take us through the process of becoming a Spazmatic? Like,
is there an application process?
No. Yeah.
To?
You have to be a bad motherfucker. That's the first thing.
All right, I'm sold. Like I said, where do I send the resume?
Yeah, you can send it to my PO box. It's listed on our Facebook page. But anyways, the process of the whole thing is just finding like the right like people that seem like they can execute the show. That's pretty much the bottom line. So there's some guys that are like good players, but they can't move, or like they just have like certain qualities that are going to be good, that are good for this show, and I seem to be able to spot those guys like pretty quick. So it's tough because there's like, it seems like the talent pool of like these kind of guys is thinned in the Bay Area. Like one time the Bay Area was like a hotbed for a lot of musicians, and maybe it's moved to different areas and stuff. Like in San Francisco, it used to be really like fervent. Like there was a lot of good players and good entertainers and stuff, and it seems like it's just turned into like a whole different thing now. So
right now it's one or the other, huh?
What's that?
Now it's one or the other. Either they're a great player or a great entertainer, but they're never both.
Right, and that's the whole thing, man. Like here are the rules. Like, are they good at like playing the music? Are they good entertainers? And can they move? Those are really like the three things, you know. So like I tend to like focus on people that can put forth the character more than like worry about like if they hit every single note right. So because like at the end of the day, I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen this. You go to a club and you see a band just maliciously like dragging ass through like Sweet Home Alabama or something, and people are out in the audience like, yeah, it's like they don't care. You know what I mean? It's like that guy's not playing the fucking guitar part right, and it's like the people just don't care.
No, they care more. Is it fun?
Is it fun?
Dance to it. Can I croon along badly and nobody cares?
As evidenced by my Wayne After Dark performance. So that's not meant to be like, you know, super talent. I'm not trying to rival Prince, but it's just like supposed to be fun. And that's pretty much the Spazmatics rule. Be fun. And it's difficult to find the right guys, Brandon. It's tough.
Yeah. I could have.
These guys are like trained guys, man. Like I've trained like at least 50 or 60 cast members, like not just for Spaz, but for the previous shows. Oh, wow. So it's a lot of training. Like I'm talking like ass kicking training. Like one of the guys, we've had like long relationships with these guys, man. Like, you know, years. The cast members, you know, that have been in the band. Some guys only last like a few months, and then we just like move on to somebody else. But it's a lot of work. Like some of these guys take a beating, you know, like trying to get them up to speed. And I appreciate like all the beatings that we've been leading to get them to that point.
The one thing that I've seen about the Bay Area's Spazmatics, which I'm a little partial to, because I mean I've been a fan for the last like 5 or so years. Looking at the other bands, and I'm not saying they're bad, because people don't know, is there are Spazmatics all across the United States and other metropolitan areas.
Right.
Like, you guys kind of go off the cusp a little bit. Because I know you guys seem to have a playlist that you guys kind of stick to, and I noticed that the other Spazmatics don't really seem to go off the cusp, while you guys will add in Iron Maiden songs. You guys will add in some little Metallica little blurbs here and there, and you'll make it fun.
Right.
You know, where did those ideas come from? Like, you know,
I hear what you're saying completely. That's like a thing that I deal with like night after night. Like whenever we play a show, I always like try and read the crowd and see what's like working, what's not working. If we're in a song and people are like pulling away or like losing focus, I'll shift gears. Like we'll stop a song like right in the middle of a song and like go to another song. And my guys are like so in tune with like, you know, we're a team. It's a machine, and we can just like, you know, read each other's signals, and we can just like shift gears. So those things you're talking about, like kind of going outside the lines a little bit. Like when we started, we were like, you know, pure 80s new wave. Like we did like a lot of the early 80s new wave, like, you know, Thomas Dolby, like that kind of stuff that you saw on MTV, like Relax, Duran Duran, all that stuff in the very beginning stages of MTV. But I have some guys that are like really capable, and we can go a lot further. So we can stretch our legs a little bit. So like why not like do an Iron Maiden song or like something that we really like. So and I've actually like been trying to focus on picking songs that just excite us, and then we see how they go. If they work good, then we keep them. If they don't, we move on to something else. So we've been like kind of like throwing in like stuff like you've been talking about, like Pink Floyd and Iron Maiden and Priest and stuff like that, in addition to the Don't You Want Me and Duran Duran and all that stuff. So but some of these guys are really good. Like we have several dudes that are in like, you know, national touring bands. Like we have, you know, like one of the guys is in Korn right now, and another guy is in Alanis Morissette's band, and we have, you know, Jeff Scott Soto that was in Yngwie's band and Sons of Apollo, and there's some like heavyweight guys here. So like why not utilize their skills?
Absolutely.
Like, you know, speaking of like utilizing skills, you guys are on what, 23, 24 live
23
shows?
23.
Like, what was the idea? Because you guys play everything from parties, bar mitzvahs, you know, nightclubs, whatever it takes. You know, now that we're in a global pandemic, you know, what was the idea to sit down and go, hey, let's stream every week. Let's give everybody a show.
Right. I was like, let's keep playing, like let's keep doing this, and like let's do a Facebook Live show and just see how it goes. And I didn't even think about like, is this going to last 23 times or anything? It just kind of like developed from me saying, let's just keep playing, and then we got a pretty big response off the first few times we did it. We did it like about 4 or 5 weeks, and then some of those shows like went up into like the numbers got up to like 70,000 over a course of a week. And our previous like posts, or even a post or anything like would be like like 1,000 to like 1,500 like hits, and then like we do these shows and they were getting like 70,000 hits because people are kind of stuck home like doing nothing, so like they just get like enthralled in this whole thing. So I think it just kind of was a product of like trying it and seeing how it was going, and it just started like snowballing. So now we're up to like we're getting ready for show 24 next.
Oh man.
So it's been pretty extensive. It's been like every week. So every Friday at 8 o'clock we've been doing them Pacific time.
We make it a family fixture in our house.
Cool. Yeah, people are doing it in their backyards and stuff with like big huge like projectors, and it's
I wish I had a projector.
Yeah, it's super fun, man, when you see that shit. So like, and a lot of people are like, just like, thank you for doing this. Like we have nothing going on, and I really appreciate you guys doing this. So it's been like to try and entertain people while they're stuck at home.
Well, thank you for that, and a lot of people feel the same way I do. My family loves it. So many other people love it too.
Hopefully you put your family to bed before Wayne After Dark. Hopefully they don't see that.
He doesn't watch Wayne After Dark because he has to podcast with me directly thereafter. He bitches about it occasionally.
Oh, okay, good.
Like when we're in the green room, he complains.
All my heterosexual like male friends are like, make it stop.
So we got some fan questions. Michelle Vasade, she asks, how did you come up with your stage name, and what is its significance? Sorry.
My stage name was, I actually stole it from a band called The Producers, which is a power pop band that came out of the 80s, and they had a song called Sheila.
Yeah.
It was killer. And the keyboard player was named Wayne Famous. And I partially stole it because of that reason, and I'm a huge hockey fan, so I love the great one, Wayne Gretzky. So I was always like in tune with Wayne, who I actually met in Beverly Hills, and like it changed my life. And that was the whole thing. I just stole like the producer guy's name and Wayne Gretzky's name and kind of like merged those together. The names come about by usually I let the guys like kind of like tell me a little bit about their background and stuff, and we kind of like formulate what would be good like when we come up with these names. So sometimes we pick like their middle name and then put it together with something else, or we talk about like what would be good, like are you like what kind of character would you be like, like are you like one of our guys was a CPA, and then just kind of like try and formulate something that correlates to their real life, so it seems like a little bit real. So
let them turn the volume on themselves up.
Right.
Once again, pro wrestling logic.
Right.
It's you don't create a new character, you just take yourself and turn the volume way the fuck up. Take it up to 11.
And sometimes it can suck, because guys will like try and do shit, and it's like that's not working. Like some guys are like our bass player is not really like a talky guy. He just kind of sits in the back and sniffs stuff. It just doesn't do anything, and it's hysterical because he just like sits back there and he just kind of stares around. I go, your thing, man, is that you just like stare into space and like stare at walls, and it's been like his thing, and people like it, so it's cool.
Heather Woods asks, and that's my fiance. She asks, what's the weirdest private gig the Spazmatics have ever played? So
Heather's been waiting to ask this for a year.
Weirdest private gig.
Wedding, birthday, a dude's dungeon, whatever.
God, weird. They're all kind of like similar, really. It's a lot of corporate parties. Like nothing really strange that I can think of other than we did one up in Chico once where like some undesirable people came backstage and they started doing weird shit.
Whoa! Back up. We're a descriptive show, sir. This
girl... I'm just going to tell you this. This girl comes back and goes, want to see my boobs? And she pulls up her shirt, and I'm like, not really. No. No, it was like a bad like day in National Geographic history. It was not
Wait,
good.
like it was that bad? Like there was a woman moves you didn't want to see?
Yeah, oh yeah. It was like no, 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 we really don't. But like most of the private gigs are corporate, really serious. Like it's got to run by the book, and you got to start at this time and be there at this time, and strange gigs.
Because we're paying you good money to be here.
Right.
Like what kind of corporate gigs do you, like are we talking like Christmas parties or like do you guys play like motivation lunches and shit?
It's a lot of birthday parties, really. Like people hit their 40th and 50th, and that's a lot of those. And then the corporate events are like, eBay, Google, when they do their big holiday events. Or their parties where they're like they're doing their new product release. So we're the band that like kind of kicks off the new product release. That was a fun one. We did one in where was it? It was in Vegas just recently, over the last couple of years, and it was a huge, huge one. I mean, it was like 5,000 employees, and it was this big, huge thing. And like this guy comes over to my house to make sure everything's running correctly. I'm like, I'm pretty sure we got it, dude. We're fine. And we do this huge thing out in Vegas, and it was like a multiple rehearsal thing with all these cues, and it's got to go this way, and you got to be here on this time. There's a lot of directions. And then the sound guys like screwed everything up, and the whole thing was a complete disaster. Yeah. Like we started the whole thing, and like it was, we were like flying blind because the sound guys had muted one of the tracks, and it was like, we can't hear this guy over here, and it's like, oh shit. So it's just a snafu kind of thing. But I'm trying to think of strange things. I mean, there's been a lot of fun, like celebrity parties. We've played for like all these celebrity people, like Jessica Simpson and Guy Fieri and what's that? Federer. We did the tennis guys party. We played. There was a private for Wayne Gretzky, his birthday party.
Oh, I'll bet you were stoked to
Yeah, and I didn't get to do that one. That's sucks. So yeah, a lot of. Those are like probably the strange ones when you play like celebrity kind of like parties and stuff like that.
Oh, man. So going from strange to worst, and you kind of gave us a little description on it. Like, what is the worst venue or venue experience?
Worst?
Yeah, worst. Now, as a drummer, that could be anything.
Mm-hmm. Well, what's that place? Nino's?
Oh, Nino's. Okay, yeah.
You know that place?
Yeah, I know Nino's.
Yeah, that wasn't too fun. So, just like owners that like treat you kind of bad. Like don't like we were like asking for like can we get some water backstage? She's like, what?
Oh yeah, dude. And some places you're lucky if they'll give you some pitchers and some plastic cups.
Right.
And they act like they're giving you the fucking world for that.
Right.
That's Modesto for you.
Right. It's a little ridiculous, Like when you go to prison, they give you bread and water, and like some of these places are just like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, Modesto doesn't even got bread. And the water sucks.
So the precursor to the Spazmatics was the Aphrodisiacs. We had a band in Chicago, and like they would give us the world. I mean, we'd have anything we want back there. So yeah, when you go to places where they're like won't even bring you water and stuff. So I don't know, like the worst gigs. That's a tough one. There's like so many. I could name off like several. But
I have a story. One time I played the Boardwalk out in Orangevale.
Oh, okay.
And the sound guy was very insistent on the point where he's like, okay, you must cut a hole in your bass drum, otherwise I am not.
I've had that before, yeah.
He's like, otherwise I am not giving you a bass drum mic.
Right.
I'm like, well, I mean, what do you? He's like, either you do it or I'm walking off the stage right now. He's like,
right.
Take my knife. So he made me take my knife, and I was young and naive then, and I just stabbed my bass drum and
right.
made a little hole and made him happy.
Right.
But the whole night he just fucked with us. So throughout the night, my bass drum would disappear in the mix, and then it would reappear again.
Right.
It would just keep coming back, and then after the gig, he goes, good show, but you might need a better sound guy.
Right.
I'm like, oh man.
Yeah. we've had like so many bad sound guys like through the years. Like we have our own guys right now that I actually probably should thank, like Mark Milborn and Johnny Cupcakes and Doug Carlson, like our three main sound engineers. But like so many bad sound stories, like they just like ruined the night because of these guys don't know what they're doing, and it just sucks. But generally, like most of the gigs are good because we have our own crew, and there's like nothing that can really go wrong.
So.
Except everything.
Except everything. Yeah, when they make you cut a hole in your bass drum with a knife, that's not good.
With your own knife.
Yeah. Not good.
So you seem to be a musical chameleon in terms of like what you play. So you're very easily adaptable to pretty much anything.
Right.
What are some bands that are on your Spotify or Apple Music or whatever streaming device you are listening to right now?
Wow. Maiden. It's always Maiden. I like to listen to Prince and like Maiden. I'm like a metal guy from the 80s. So UFO, Maiden, Ronnie James Dio, awesome shit. God, Judas Priest, Scorpions.
Hell yeah.
What else? Pretty much everybody that played the US Festival. Triumph. You guys know who Triumph is?
Yeah.
Yeah, one of my favorites. Just a Michael Schenker like solo stuff is killer. What else? Frank Sinatra.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Love me some Sinatra, dude. Nothing but the best is in my constant rotation.
My hidden like little secret is that I'm a 70s fusion guy. I loved all the 70s fusion stuff, like Billy Cobham, and I ended up actually working for Billy Cobham. Yamaha called me up and asked me if I could go down and help out Billy Cobham. I'm like, yeah, I think I can do that. So, and Steve Gadd too. I actually got to hang out with him for a few days. So, I was helping him like with everything, and it was just amazing. So yeah, the 70s fusion era, like all that stuff is killer. But mostly the 80s metal is like really like my favorite stuff. And Prince is like my main go-to. I like love him. So.
And okay, so you've accomplished a lot in music.
Not enough.
And that leads into my next question. What do you
Yeah.
look to accomplish within the next 5 years? What?
I need Brad to like fire the Night Ranger guy and put me in the band, even though he's the guy that sings the main song that everybody loves. So, no.
Well, could you do that?
I could.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. You solved that problem. So, Brad,
Right.
if you're listening, thanks, first of all, if you're
Yeah,
listening.
thanks.
And secondly, fire the Night Ranger guy and grab Wayne Famous.
It's tough, man. Like, I mean, you know how hard it is to get like a big gig. I get this question all the time. Like, how come you're not in some huge band? Or like, how come Castle Blak didn't get huge? It's just like such a game of like, which door opens at the right time. So it's tough. Like you have to get like an in with somebody. Like usually when like a big guy leaves a big band, it's like the first thing that comes up is like they look at the guy to the left of him and they go, "Do you know anybody?" So it's all this friend. It's this friend game, you know. Just finding like the next guy is always due to like who the next guy that's in the band like has a friend or something. They just like suck up one of their friends.
Right. Who's on their mind at the moment?
Right. Exactly. So I would say like, you know, like a major band that would, you know, tour like if the world ever opens up again, but like some kind of major tour. So
Got anybody in mind?
yeah, that would be jeez. Like ideally, like someone like Duran Duran or something like that, some major heavyweight band from the 80s.
So good.
That would be fun as hell. I mean, something where I could stretch out a little bit too. You know, like it's hard to say. Like I think Maiden's like pretty locked in with their drummer.
Yeah, you know, I don't think Nico's going anywhere.
Yeah.
You could ask.
Yeah, that would you can ask like, "Hey Bruce, can you put me in the band?" Anyways, yeah, like just some major band like that would be super fun. Like just to tour with and to like get out and like two like major tours. So, what about you guys? Where are you headed to?
I'm just looking to tour next year. That's all I want to do.
Yeah, I know.
You know, we released an EP this February.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, like we were getting everything ready, and then we had our CD release show, and then everything shut down. So now we're doing live shows every couple weeks on streaming, and
right.
So just kind of.
Well, how's it going?
Good. We're working our way around, trying to dial in sound and just get the best quality we can. So it's been working.
Yeah,
good.
That's a huge thing, man. Like Mark Milbourne, our sound guy, he's been like at it trying to like figure out the magic concoction to get like Facebook Live to sound good, because Facebook Live squishes everything down. It's all compressed.
Yeah.
So you go down to 8-bit, and it's like, it's tough. It's like almost like you have to like compensate in advance for what's going to happen later, because when you listen to like the live shows later, they just sometimes don't sound good.
No, I've noticed that too.
Right.
So if you weren't doing music, what would you be doing?
Porn star.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
No hesitation.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. I'm already doing that already, like right now, but it's just like no one's filming it. So, fucking, it's a bummer. I've got an iPhone. I guess I could film it.
Well, everybody's a porn star nowadays with OnlyFans and all the other websites that are out there. So.
Right. No, I would probably. What would I be? I enjoy teaching, man. I've been teaching like about 40 to 50 like students a week. So it's really like relaxing, and like it's like, what would you rather be doing than playing drums? Drums are like my life. I love drums. Like when I sit down at the drum set, that's where I feel the most comfortable. So it gets my mind off of shit, like all this crazy shit that's going on right now. Crazy band members and just all the bullshit that's going on. It's like music is such an escape from everything. Like I have a buddy that comes over on Wednesday, and we do this bro night thing, and we just like put on various bands from the past. Like we were listening to Accept last night. Do you guys know Accept?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was just like such a trip just to listen to them and remember those moments that when you first heard them, and just, kind of dissect why they're good. So that's a super fun thing to do. That's what's great about music. Everybody has a different take on everything, and just listening to that old shit is so much fun. So highly recommend that.
And for the aspiring drummer, give them an Iron Maiden song that they should learn.
That would be the first song on Peace of Mind, my friend. Like, what a great intro. Like, you have your new drummer in the band, and you come out and just make a statement right away, right? What was that called? I'm just kidding. It's like Where Eagles Dare.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yes. I was trying to look it up. I was like, where is it?
Iron Maiden, like, drumming is like a huge, like, cavern of like, there's so many good drummers. Like if you had to pick your favorite drummer, what would it be? Who would he be?
Favorite
maybe like
drummer,
2 or 3.
Joey Jordison.
Right? Okay.
Like I said, I won't say he's the best, but he's my personal favorite. I feel like
Why do you like him?
I feel like he's got the perfect blend of really solid but not perfect technique and raw aggression and passion. Yeah, just
you're talking about the Slipknot guy, right?
Yes.
Right.
And a great tone with all of his drums. Everything sounds the way it should sound. Everything at the perfect level. Like I said, he's a maniac, but he's a controlled maniac.
Right.
And that's my thing. There's just that borderline between playing close enough to perfect, but just enough.
Right.
Aggression. Him and my main influence as a musician, Tommy Lee.
Hey.
Yeah, he rolls, dude. Yeah. He was one of the first guys I saw when I was super young and confused. I was wearing like cords and a down jacket, and like when I saw him, it changed over. I was like, man, this guy's like bringing it. Like, what I like about him is like, he just like has a very visual thing going on, and like it reminds me of like the same way I felt when I saw Terry Bozzio. Like he was just like so visual, like in his playing. It was so aggressive.
He's a lead drummer.
Right.
He's a front man. He just happens to be behind a drum kit.
You know what's funny is when I left Castle Blak the first time, I kind of got like shoved out because somebody in the music business said there's no place in this world for a lead drummer. That was the actual quote.
Fuck them.
Bullshit.
You don't need that kind of negativity in your life.
I know.
I say bullshit because I am a lead singing drummer.
Are you? But are you a lead drummer? Like, I guess the guy was like trying to say I was like doing too many fills or something, but I don't know.
It's a drummer that doubles as a front man even when they're not singing.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Some singers are wonderful singers, but they're not good frontmen.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's up to other members of the band to kind of take that role.
Right.
And every so often, it's the guy behind the drum kit.
Right. Right.
You know?
Yeah, like Dave Grohl or, like some guy who can bring it. Yeah.
A perfect example, Dave Grohl.
Right.
Yeah. That's exactly someone who you'd think of like that. Tommy Lee.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, he's great. He's great. Have you guys seen that thing he did with when Hagar did his road show and they went over to Tommy Lee's house and they played an old Montrose song? Have you seen that?
I have not.
Oh, man. Go YouTube that when we get off, and it's a killer. Yeah, they do Rock Candy, and Tommy Lee just brings it. Yeah, it's killer. So he's just great, man. Like I remember I saw him at the Keystone Berkeley when they were touring on the Leather Records Too Fast for Love before they even hit Elektra. Like they weren't like nationally famous at all. And he was just like mind-boggling good, just like he brought it, So my whole thing with the Spazmatics and other bands, even like, if you go on stage and you have like whatever, you have a chemical dependency problem, you're an asshole, you got hang-ups or whatever, I don't really even fucking care. Like as long as you like execute the show, then that's all that matters. So, and Tommy Lee like brought it that night, and you can hear all these stories about how he's like a crazy, drunk lunatic or whatever, but he brought it. So it's like, like it was great.
That's one thing you never hear a bad word about. You never hear Tommy Lee lacked intensity on stage.
Right. Exactly.
Like, no, Tommy Lee was intense.
And I'll tell you right now, there's a couple drummers out there that are in major bands that I won't name that are just collecting paychecks.
Oh, for sure.
So.
For sure.
Totally. In huge bands. Like, people would give their eye teeth to be in, and it's like they're just out there like going through the motions. So that sucks. So you don't want to do that.
To be a fly on the wall for some of those conversations.
All right. Totally.
All right. Well, Mr. Matthias Montgomery, man, thank you.
You had to throw at least one name, dude. Come on, it's part of your shtick.
Was that was kind of like Ebonics or something? Mr. Montgomery, thank you for being here all this time. I really appreciate you being on my show. Dude, Italian lives matter, man. You got to get that right. Jeez.
So he's got to be like, hey, I appreciate you being on my show today. Don't forget about it. No doubt about it.
Hey, yo, Brandon, don't fuck up my name again, or else there'll be a black car in your guard. And like by tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., you'll be not walking straight.
Hey, I'm a little disappointed in myself. Like, I'm at the bottom of the boot. I'm Sicilian, okay?
Oh, okay. Are you really? Are you Sicilian? Sweet, man. My best friend's Sicilian. Johnny's Sicilian in Hardline.
I'm the white Sicilian.
Okay. My mom, like, we were Northern Italians, and my mom's always like telling me, she's like, we don't really like Sicilians. They're like down there. Like, but my best friend's a Sicilian, so like.
Mom, I'm conflicted.
That's why I play drums right there. I'm conflicted.
So, where can you tell all of these fine people who are watching and listening to this podcast where they could find you, where they could find your projects, and where's your school?
It would be just MatthiasDrumLessons.com, and then you can find us Spazmatics at Facebook.com/SpazmaticsRock. So those are probably the two best places right there. And then, yeah. But just, if you have any questions or like if you want to send me like free money or anything, you can send me.
I believe you have a Venmo and a donation.
Yeah. We do. People have been really kind about that too. We have a few like really like super supporters that are like they've been there like every week. So it's pretty cool.
Good.
That's a good thing. So we continue to do that. Like we're gonna be like right back on track here like pretty quick, but we're just gonna take a little short break and then get back at it.
Hell yeah. All right.
Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you for spending the time with us, man.
Oh, super fun. So we'll promo you guys like on our live streams. It'll be fun. Sweet. Wait.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for joining us, lending us 2 hours of your life to come talk to the boss and the box. Now,
I didn't even get to talk about any debauchery or anything. You didn't even ask me any like crazy stories.
You know what? There's still time.
Really?
Still time, man.
So one time we were in Indianapolis, and the singer in the Aphrodisiacs was macking on this girl backstage, and she passed out like in his arms. And I don't know what the deal is, but every situation that happens where things go downhill, it's always like, Matthias, and they call me over and like to try and solve this shit, right? So he's like, dude, this girl passed out. Like, it's like, what am I going to do? I'm like, well, dude, slap her. Do something, like try and wake her up. And like he slaps her across the face, and she kind of like comes to for a second. And it's like back out again. So we had to make a decision like really quick, or we're going to look like, something really bad happened. So we like took her upstairs and we set her in a chair, and then we went over to a bouncer and we said, man, that girl's been drinking way too much. And the guys, I'll take care of it. Don't worry about it. Or else we would have been downstairs with this like passed out girl in our arms. That doesn't go over well with your boss.
No.
I have to thank those guys too. Like my boss, who actually is the two of these guys are the creators of Spazmatics, Roger Sauce and Jamie Brown, and they run a company called Perfect World Entertainment, and it's just been top-notch entertainment for 23 years, and probably going to go on for a lot longer. And Jamie's actually in a really cool band called Roxanne, and they were big back in the 80s too. They had like a moment down in Hollywood, and they were like rising and everything, and they've just recently got together and like redone a bunch of songs. And George Lynch from Dawkins is in a bunch of the videos, and it's really cool shit. So look up Roxanne on YouTube. So that's the deal.
Any Spazmatics weird fan interactions?
Oh yeah, that happens like every week.
Is it Brandon usually?
Not Brandon. Brandon's actually pretty cool, but I mean, there's always some interesting stuff that comes through on those live streams. But fan interactions.
Has there been anything crazy that has happened over at Dan's bar?
Yes. Yeah, like quite a few things actually. I can't really. God, I might implicate a few people if I like start talking about that. I always say about Dan's bar. I was going to show you this thing right here. Dan's bar.
There you go.
Nice, the koozie.
Anyways, that's Dan's bar. The some of the craziest and some of the best things have happened to us at Dan's bar. Like it's just been like a nonstop parade of crazy. Have you guys, Brandon? You haven't seen us there, have you?
I haven't. My fiance has seen you there. I've seen you at Swabbies, the Antioch Fair.
Sweet.
I think Retro Junkie.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, Dan's is like a place we played for like 12 years, and the owner Saul Tallarico, a very close friend of mine, and it's just a really cool place. Like it's one of those places where it's like Cheers, where you feel like you're hang.
Like where everybody knows your name.
Right.
And they're always glad you came.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just a really cool place. We've had some great moments there, and it's just like a lot of fun. So I highly recommend. That's a good venue to see us at. Some of these venues are like not the greatest places to see the band at.
Got a listener question. Speaking of places that are weird to see the band at, Bishop Batista asked, anything crazy happened when you played the Jenny Jones show?
Yeah. That's actually a really good question. The Aphrodisiacs was a disco band that was the precursor to the Spazmatics, and I was in Chicago. And we used to have some crazy shows, man. Like the Chicago Bulls, when they were at the top of their game, used to come out and hang out with us all the time. So Dennis Rodman was with us a lot of the time. And,
no shit, during the three-peat era?
Yeah, yeah. I've got DVDs of me on drums playing, and Dennis Rodman comes up behind me and just like hugs me, and he's just like, how you doing, bro? Puts his fucking big-ass cigar on like my shit, like on my like $5,000 DW kit.
Oh!
It's like, dude, get your fucking cigar off my drums. It's like, oh, shit. So he was a really cool guy. But we did the Jenny Jones show, which was like you guys probably are too young to remember this, but it was kind of like a Jerry Springer kind of show.
No, we remember Jenny Jones.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool, man. I don't feel that old anymore. Anyways, we would be up all night the night before because of the gig would end about, I don't know, 2:30, and by the time you wind down and everything, it's like 4 or 5, and they'd pick us up on a limo at 6. So we were just like gassed. We'd be on TV at 7 o'clock. We did about 7 Jenny Jones appearances, and our singer was like not feeling well, like, and I think he might have been sick or something. Like, and so we did this like move, this dance move that was like pretty intense. Like you jump up and you jump up, drop, and then slide to the left, right? So I just noticed that he looked like he was like moving kind of strangely, right? And we finished the show and everything, and I just noticed he comes backstage and he takes off his pants and he wads them up and he just throws them in the garbage. I'm like, what happened? He's like, dude, when I jumped up and I landed, I had a little accident in my pants. So he fucking like, he shat himself like on national TV. And if you go back and look at the clip, you can tell when it happened because he wrenches his face. It's the most hilarious.
I'm gonna look this up on YouTube.
It's funny.
You're like, go look up solo projects and whatnot. I'm like, I'm gonna go look up when this dude shat himself.
It's pretty fucking funny, dude.
On the Aphrodisiacs on the Jenny Jones show.
Aphrodisiacs were like a super group in Chicago. They were like, it was a lot of fun, man. There was a lot of people like Billy Corrigan. He used to hang out with us, and then Kid Rock was there with his band. Fred Durst, he came in a few times, and then all these like celebrity guys. We got hired by John Cusack to be in one of his movies.
Which one?
High Fidelity.
No shit.
Yeah, we were going to be the band that's at the very last scene where Jack Black does that Marvin Gaye song, and we couldn't do it because we had another gig. So it was a major drag. We tried to like book like a charter flight that we could fly back and do like the filming, because they have their schedule and we had our schedule, and we just couldn't change it because we had a contract, and it was just a nightmare because I love John Cusack. So, but yeah, he was out a bunch of the time. So, anyways.
I got one last listener question that I want to throw in there. Man, dude, we've done 2 hours. Kick ass. Bishop Batista wants me to ask Matthias if he ever had a bass player jump on a bus during a show.
Yeah. Our bass player was like a crazy guy, Charlie Sanborn. And he was the master of like, you ever had one of these guys who could just like meld into a situation and just pretend like he was part of the group, and he really had no association with the group at all, but he just was the gift of gab, could just bring him into the situation.
I might know a guy or two like that.
Yeah, I think that's you.
That's definitely him.
So Vince Neil pulls into town with his solo band, and Charlie, our bass player from the Afros, went over to Vince Neil's bus and goes, "Hey, man, nice to meet you. Like, I'm Charlie. I'm your tour director while you're here." He's like, "All right, all right." So he just like cordons like Vince Neil and like like just basically like leads him around to where he's supposed to go, and like he was like, "What kind of drinks do you need?" And he had no association with the entire event at all, and he hung out and catered to Vince Neil like the entire night, like he was his like cruise director. So he was just like that. He was like that. We would go to NAMM a lot of the times, and he'd be that way at NAMM all the time.
I got free pancakes at IHOP once because the group that I was with, we said we were members of Slipknot.
That's pretty slick.
That's funny. Bishop's in that guy you're talking to, he's in a band in Reno. They're called New Wave Crave. They're another really cool 80s band.
Awesome.
So, yeah. So he's our competition, man. So there's always some competitor right around the corner trying to take the baton away from the Spazmatics. So,
trying to knock you off the mountain?
Dude, always.
Not gonna happen.
There's always
Not
somebody.
gonna happen.
Yeah. It's a tough one, man. You're gonna have to like compete with Wayne After Dark, man. You can't compete with that. So, anyways.
Well, yeah, hell yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, every Friday night at 8 p.m., go check out the Spazmatics on Facebook at the Spazmatics Rocks. Matthias, Wayne Famous, thank you for joining us for 2+ hours of awesome stories, my friend.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Thanks for having me, and I hope to see you guys at a future show when we actually can play live.
Yes. And you.
Well, and just letting you know, I know you got the Spazmatics on Friday. I know you got Wayne After Dark, but next Friday we're doing a special tag-in episode where we're just allowing past guests, audience members, people in the discussion group to pop on for a couple minutes and just share a joke, a funny story, a diss, cut a promo on your boy, whatever.
Yeah.
Just throwing that invite out there that next Friday, if you want to make sure you're just kind of readily available and feel like jumping in, please do. We'd love to see you again.
Same time, same channel, right?
Friday. Friday instead of Thursday.
Oh, okay.
So
all right, yeah, that's right. Friday.
After the Spazmatics.
Okay. Right after the Spazmatics. That might be like Wayne after dark.
Hell yeah.
So.
Right, that's after Wayne After Dark.
Right. I'm usually with people that don't have man boobs at that hour, but that's okay. I can come in and do like an announcement or something. Not you guys. I was talking about me.
Well, that's what he's saying. He's not usually hanging out with the likes of us, but hopefully he can stop by, for one beer time only, and then, get down the road.
Yeah.
Nice.
No problem, man. Thank you so much, man. It was like so much fun, and thank you for talking shop with me.
Absolutely. And this has been episode 80 of Talking Shop with the Boss in the Box, joined by Matthias Montgomery. Go check out his drumming. In just a minute, as we're saying our goodbyes, we're going to wind it down with another track of Matthias's. This one is called What's the Weather? And Lunchbox, where can they find you?
You can find me at the Almighty Lunchbox on Instagram. You can find my band, Nothing But Losers, on Facebook, Nothing But Losers on Instagram, and Nothing But Loser, that is no S, on Twitter. You can find this show on Talking Shop with the Boss in the Box on Facebook. And as always, don't forget to join our discussion group, Talking Shop with the Boss in the Box, where we shitpost all day long. Talking Shop with the Boss in the Box on Instagram, and Talking_Shop on Twitter. And don't forget to subscribe to the Talking Shop with the Boss in the Box YouTube channel, where you will get Monday Motivation, The Boss Reacts, after hours specials, and whatever other bullshit that we do throughout the week, which might even have after hours stuff with Matthias. Maybe, we don't know. We haven't talked about it yet. And of course, Brandon, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram at The Real Brandon Blacker. You could find my band that I sing and play drums for on every social media platform there is: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat, OnlyFans, AVN Stars, Pornhub. It doesn't matter where you find it, it's there. And suburbanparanoia.com. So anyways, this has been episode 80. We're going to wind this down with a little jazzy little track of Matthias's. This song is called What's the Weather Like? Good night, everybody.
Right on. Good night.
Good night.